guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. A great big shout out to my channel members for supporting my channel. Thank you. Alright, so in this edition of Crack the Vault Collab, hosted by Poetspice, it is a monthly collab held every third Friday of the month. There's a bunch of us participating. Definitely check out my description box below. The purpose of this collab is to either use things that we've never used in our stash, or use things that are at least 6 months old. And so for the journaling thing that I'm going to show you today, I've actually used both things I've never used before, as well as things that have been in my collection for quite some time. Now, the majority of those who are participating in this are crafters, either just straight up crafts, or a lot of them are card makers. So again, definitely go and check out their channel. And as always, thank you to Poetspice for hosting this. So what I have before you here are my reading journals. I will be doing a separate reading journal video. It is on my to-do list for my channel. And this is my reading journal that is pretty much just functional. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you my more decorative reading journal. Now, this is an A5 Maisie Lane Co. dot grid journal. Maisie Lane Co. no longer does journals, but an A5 journal would work. I do enjoy journaling, creative journaling, functionally journaling, and this actually used to be my reading journal. I actually started this for 2021, and because I'm going to be doing a little bit of chatting before I actually show you what I did for this particular video, I'm just going to flip through this, although I will talk more in depth about this when I do the actual reading journal video. A few years ago, G from Book Roast created an annual readathon that centers around a world that is similar to if you were a student at Hogwarts. You would take classes in the spring semester, and you would take classes or tests in the fall semester. It's very loose, and yet it's very specific. I will link G's channel, as well as the video about the monthly prompts that I'll be talking about, as well as the annual prompts that's held every April and August for the last few years, because she does go into much more detail. She's got PDFs, she's got it all laid out, so I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but it is, what I've done is based on that. Now, 2024 is the very first time, at least that I'm aware of, that she has done monthly prompts, because generally you do prompts for whatever path you've chosen for April, and then for that same path in August you do some additional prompts. And again, it makes way more sense if you check out her channel. It is a book or reading channel, so it is based on reading certain genres or reading a certain amount of books if you want. Again, there's no police on readathons or any kind of genre-based prompt type activity. So let me just show you what I've done. It might make more sense that way. All right, so in this, all this is going to be, because again, this is all old from 2023 that I never actually ended up using. And again, I will speak to that in a different video, but I created a place to do the Adventures of Aeldia, which is the world that G has created for the Aurelium Academy. Again, it is mimicking sort of a Harry Potter journey, as if you were a witch or a wizard going through the various levels of school. And for them, it was levels 1 through 7, right? 7 years of schooling. But what she did this year, again, that was different, was she created sort of a adventure of Aeldia, where starting in the beginning of the year, you're locked in a dungeon, and depending on which path you choose is a way that you can get out of the dungeon. There is a prompt for every single month. You can't really see it here. It's actually really hard to read, even if you do it 8.5 by 11. But when you go to her YouTube page and you click on the link, you can actually see it very clearly on a laptop or a computer. And then based on the path that you choose, then there's a prompt for a particular book for that path. Now, I think some people are going to just choose on a monthly basis. I've actually already mapped out how I want to go through this. So April, we're back to Aurelium. August, we're back to Aurelium. So those 2 months are not covered in these monthly prompts because they will have their own monthly prompts. And we'll actually show you the prompts that I'm going to be focusing on for this reading challenge. Hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense. Now, this is artwork that is available from her. It's all free. And I just printed it out on white paper and then used some distress ink spray to just make it look a little old, and then I did some collaging. I really enjoy the collaging decorative reading journal kind of look, but I know that I don't have a lot of time. So the only thing that I'm going to be doing by way of heavily decorative like this is in here. That one that I showed you a little bit earlier, that is super functional. So going into this, it is the adventure in Aeldia, and what I've done is created Dutch doors for the 10 months that does not include back to Aurelium. So there is no April in here and there is no August in here. And like I said, I've already chosen my path, and so in all of these little boxes, there's a prompt for me to try and cover. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. So for January, based on the path, it was rely on your strength, and that's read a physical book. Now, I don't generally read a lot of physical books, but I did read like 20 something books in January on my Kindle, and that's something I was holding, and that's physical because the only other prompt was audio, and I definitely do not do audiobooks. So this is the one that I chose for this prompt, and so I can check it off, right? Because it's not something like it's a test or you're part of a group where if you don't do it, everyone fails. I mean, it's just a way to read your stuff. And so I chose The Never King. I did a little bit of some thoughts there and some details about the book. I will be doing all of the book covers in black and white, so it kind of fits the theme. I used a stamp that I've had for a few months, and a lot of these papers and stickers have been in my stash, if not for months, for years. So I couldn't tell you where much of anything is because of accumulation of things. I know that these are Sticky Club stickers, and I think this is from a subscription box. These are washi tapes I had, but every month I'm going to be going through here and inputting a book that fits the prompt. So for February, based on the path that I chose, the prompt is manipulate a boulder to crash through a wall. And what that means is read a book that is 100 pages longer than your average. According to my stats on Goodreads for 2023, my average book length was 268 pages. This book right here had 390 pages, so I fit the prompt. And so every month, I'm probably going to do this after the fact. I don't actually create to be read lists or TBR lists of things I think I might read because I'm definitely a mood hobbyist to include a mood reader. And so I will just go through all of the books that I read for March and see what can actually fit in that. So March, the prompt for me is cut your way through wild vines, blocking an ancient exit. And what that means is a book neither first nor last in a series. And as you can see, it's very lyrical. It's very descriptive. It's very interesting how she's sort of adding a fantasy element to it. But what the actual prompt means is very cut and dry. Now, it doesn't tell you that it has to be fiction, nonfiction, it has to be long, that it can't be manga, that it can't be audio. You can make it whatever you want to. And so you can have 10 different people taking the exact same path that I'm doing and have completely different books, genres, everything. And I love the freedom of that. I think this is definitely a readathon that is very doable. I'll actually show you 2 spreads that I did for the Aurelian prompt where you can see it's a little bit more involved. So there's nothing for April, because again, that's going to be for Aurelium. So in May, my prompt is extra credit in alchemy. And so that means a book title that has multiple A's in it. For June, the prompt is work on calculating ratios. So I will need to set up a daily page ratio. And more than likely, what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to read a book over 2 pages. And so set the ratio for the first day at 50% and set the ratio for the next day at 50%, because I generally blitz through books, especially since a lot of them that I read are novellas. For July, complete and keep an extra strong healing potion. And that means a book about a topic you care about. Again, there's no August because that's for Aurelium. September is inspect a dark, mysterious pool on the corridor floor. And so I need to read a scary or dark book. I do not generally read scary books, but I do like dark fantasy, dark romance, dark mafia, bullying type books. If I wanted to, this could even mean that the cover of the book is dark, right? I mean, it's my prompt, it's my path, I do what I want. For October, the prompt is quickly hide and be stealthy to avoid being seen. And that is a book not heard people talk about, which is pretty much most of the books, because I don't follow booktubers or bookstagrammers for recommendations. If I get a recommendation, it's actually by my friend Andy. For November, the prompt is cast a magic portal detection spell and look around, which just means read something epic or high fantasy. And then for December, attempt to pull a darkly glimmering dagger out of stone. And that just means read a book with a weapon on the cover. And if I follow all of those prompts and I make it throughout the year so that at the end I've got 10 of these under my belt, then I actually will have a shadow dagger. So if you look at this right here, again, it's a little bit bigger. The path I followed is this here, and I'm doing all of the outside ones. And depending on the path you choose, there are 4 different things that you could end up with. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not ending up with anything physical, but this is an imaginary world where you are taking imaginary classes and you can win imaginary things. And so that's what I would get at the end of this adventure in Aeldia. Again, it may not make any sense to some of you, but it makes perfect sense to me. And so the reason why I wanted to do a Dutch door action like this is so that I can see the decor on either side, depending on how this is open. So this is the key that unlocks the shadow dagger. There's some thought put to this. This is a Sticky Club sticker, and that's my rendition of the shadow dagger. And this just helps add to my arsenal of weapons, based on the path that I've chosen. Now, the last time I actually did a Aurelium spread was back in 2022. So you get a syllabus, and it's not like you have to do all of this. And based on the time that I knew I had at the time, I decided to be an herbologist. And I only chose that, not because I thought this was interesting, but because there was only 2 books that I had to read. So I had to read something in alchemy, and I had to read something for restoration. And so you'd go to the syllabus, and so that means the 2 books had to be in these 2 genres. So alchemy was a book featuring romance, and restoration was a book featuring healers, and I could interpret that however I wanted to. And so the books that I read that fit that, I put here. So the path that I'm going to be doing for this year might be completely different. And again, it's more than likely going to be a path that doesn't have many books required. Now, if I flip to August of that year, it didn't necessarily focus a lot on Aurelium. August is actually a really busy month for me by way of work. And so what I did was I looked at my prompts. I had to get a certain number of books. So for the August, you usually have to do 2 or 3 of the same category. And it actually tells you all this. So all of the information G does provide. And so I had to read 2 books of alchemy and 2 books out of restoration. And so these are the books that I read for that. And again, doing a little flip out Dutch door action here, it gives me a little bit of like it's not magical, it's just a flip, but it's a way to add a little bit more space to your journal. So again, if you're interested, I highly recommend that you check this out. It can be as immersive or not as you want it to be. She does, when she does her actual Aurelium April and August readathons, there's Google Sheets and Google Docs. I think she is very active on Twitter. She's very active in her Discord. The members, when you choose your house, you can add points for your house to win, sort of like Hogwarts, where the various houses try to get the house cup at the end of the year. And all of this adds to that. So to me, it's an annual readathon that I look forward to. And it's one of the only ones that I actually do. Any other readathon that I do is because my friend Andy is hosting something. But I just wanted to show you what I have done. I really love the look of it. I really enjoyed playing with all of my stuff, both old and new, and I did set it up so that it's going to be very simple if I need to play catch up just by looking through my completed read listing done on a monthly basis and then choosing a book that fits the prompt. I don't actually do it the other way around. I'm not going to think of this and then choose a book. No, I'm going to just go through my daily life, and then when I get back to this, oh yeah, I think that will fit, and just go from there. I'd love to know what you guys think for the April and August Aurelian prompts. I do have some Sticky Club stickers to continue to use. Some of the papers and whatnot that I've used, I've stored up front here, and then I will do a 1 or 2 page spread for the April Aurelium, and then for the August Aurelium, the same thing, and then probably start the next Aeldia adventure for 2025 in the next sheets. I don't put anything else in here by way of my reading journal. Now, I am not a fan of a really chunky journal. So this is actually getting really close to the point where it's just a little too chunky for me. But I definitely can get 2024 in here, possibly 2025. I do have some additional things that I have here. I have some bulk here, so it's not exactly this bulky, but it is getting a little bulky for my taste. I'd love to know what you guys think of the journal so far. If you've ever heard of the Aeldia and Aurelium readathon. Aeldia is the world, Aurelium is the academy. So it's like Britain is the world, well, the country, but Hogwarts is the school. So Aurelium is the school. I'd love to know what you guys think. It was really fun working in this, and I look forward to working this again. All right, guys, well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.